Okay, folks, welcome to the Contrarian Trader. Please check out my site at thecontrariantrader.com. Let's take a look at the stocks I sent out to my members last week on our Focus Stocks video. I send that out every Sunday. This week's video for the 14th is going out in the next few minutes to members, and we'll touch upon stocks very similar to what we're looking at right now. Let's go over what my calls were last week. Was I right or was I wrong? We need to hold ourselves accountable for the calls that we make. I'm in this business. I have a lot of competitors, but rarely do they come out and put themselves out there to say, what's going to happen this coming week? What stocks are we looking for to trade higher or lower? These are the stocks I mentioned last week to my members, and this is why they pay a premium. So let's take a look at the stocks that last Sunday, the 8th, I sent out to my members saying that these are the stocks that look the best from a contrarian's perspective, meaning low risk to reward, good probability setups, and the first one is GSE Holdings. Look at this stock, pummeled to death. And the reason why we liked it is because nobody else did. And how did the stock trade by the end of the week? Up 2.59%. This was our worst performer from last week. The next stock is Linco. This is a daily chart of Linco, and you can see there's no historic support on this stock. It was making all-time lows. So you saw this huge bottoming tail here. So the probability of some upside was fairly good because you knew that there was support here on that prior Friday. And how did we close up last week? We closed up 10.46% by the end of business on Friday afternoon. Next stock is ALJ. Really nice move higher. On Friday alone, it was up over 3.5%. On the week, it was up net 2.83%. So a nice move higher. And what I go into with my members, I always take a look at where is historical support for a good entry point. And right where I drew this support level is where it found support, bounced off of it, rallied higher. This was the entry point that we waited for. Our next stock is BBD. Banco Brandesco, another nice little stock. Historic support levels are very critical, and you could see that it found support at historic support level at 11.25. It rallied last week for a gain of over 6% on the week. Not a bad return for a stock that is overly hated, and which is why we know that the probability of a rally off of these extreme oversold levels is very high. Thus, what we do is we take a look at the short interest, we buy the shares, and we ride the stock higher. Or I send it out to my members as a stock that they should look to purchase, and they'll make the trade. I don't trade all of these stocks. I let my members know that these are the stocks that we're looking to potentially trade. And many times they'll trade stocks that I didn't trade because I'm busy with something else, and they'll make profits on these. Ebix.com. This is on my watch list for weeks, and we waited for it to come to us. And this was the best performer for last week. We showed patience. We allowed the stock to come down to a support level that we liked. And sure enough, it rallied last week over 13%. Huge gainer last week. All right, next stock is Petrobras, PBR. A nice move higher last week. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. Bounced right off of the lower band of the declining downtrend line, which I pointed out to members is a good entry point. And sure enough, it rallied last week. It closed up 6.5% on the week. It was higher. If you use a trailing stop loss order by 2 or 3%, you would have got stopped out at a higher price. However, if you sold on Friday afternoon, you would have made a nice profit. So these are the stocks I mentioned to my members. So folks, take advantage of the 14-day free trial offer. Take a look at the Focus Stocks video I'll be sending out to my members later on this afternoon. Also, I'll be doing a video on the market pulse check, meaning how are the overall markets looking? How do I anticipate the markets moving using charts? I don't listen to CNBC. I look at charts, I look at money flows, and I go into great detail on what's going on over in Europe. Why is Europe such a concern? I also go into a great chart showing how earnings warnings for the past 5 years have been in a huge uptrend, and I give my thoughts on what that means for the overall market and what I think Wall Street and these companies are trying to do by revising these numbers downward. If you have any questions, folks, shoot me an email. I don't want anybody to lose money. I'll talk to you soon. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.